Hey everybody. Hopefully you enjoy this week's show. Captain Jeff Kraynik was my guest co-host this week. We had a lot to talk about. He had just gotten back from the Keys. He'd been down there for a month. A lot of things that were not going on when I was down there in May started to happen, and a couple of things that were going on when I was down there in May stopped happening. So hopefully you guys enjoy this show. Welcome. It's another edition of Catch Your Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday morning to see what's going on up and down the Space Coast. I'm Captain Jim Ross, and we're going to do this thing that we call Catch Your Memory Outdoors for the next 2 hours from 7 to 9 a.m. So we appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to what's going on. Got my special guest in here, freshly back from the Keys, rested, relaxed, a whole month in the Keys. And look at you. You even went shopping while you were down there.
See the tan?
I see the tan.
My dermatologist is going to chew my butt later in the week.
I'm glad that mine got postponed for this past week because I would have been in the same boat.
Yeah, I'm expecting it.
You know what? It says chronic tanning on my file. Chronic tanning.
You work outside.
Exactly, like I have a choice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 70 block, buffed up, hat, long sleeves, gloves, long pants, socks, shoes. Doesn't matter. Chronic tanning.
It looks nice on you, though, Jim.
Captain Jeff Kraynik is in the studio this morning. Hopefully you guys and gals will give us a shout here. We'd love to hear from you. 321-632-1000. We're going to be talking a little bit about Keys stuff. We're going to be talking about a little bit about what's going on up here. There's a lot that is getting ready to happen this weekend. It is, we've got a tropical depression that is going to form. You know, they've been talking about this for the last 7 days before the clouds had even formed, before there was a drop of rain in the air. They were saying that this thing's going to turn into something, and it's over Cuba now, and it's kind of coming our way. We're going to get a little rain from it, but here's what we're going to get. And it's early, which everything else this year has been kind of late. And I'm going to make a prediction here. We're going to see a mini mullet run after this storm goes by because it's going to kick the seas up. Once it gets on past us, we're going to start getting that northeast type of a flow off of it. That's the triggering mechanism that makes the mullet start to move, is that seas get rough, north or northeast kind of a wind, heavy, 15, 20 knots, not a light breeze like we've had in the mornings, not 5 or 10 mile an hour. I mean, a good, heavy, stiff breeze. It's going to start the mullet run early this year. We may see some of it here on the coast. I have a feeling that we'll probably hear more about it in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be the start of the actual mullet run a couple of weeks early, but that's okay. I'm good with it because anytime the mullet run starts, fishing is good.
Always. So
I'm looking forward to this little bit of rain that we're going to have to put up with over the weekend and possibly into Monday. And I'll get back out there Tuesday morning and see if the mullet are moving around.
Nice.
That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Well, that's a couple of predictions you made already this morning, so we'll see how that one holds up.
see if it actually holds water, huh? So, Jeff, tell us about the Keys. I mean, a solid month in Islamorada. Lots of fun. I know you guys had a ton of fun down there. I saw you catching tons of stuff. Everything but lobster season seemed like it was kind of really good.
The lobster season in our area, and I talked to a lot of guys on the water, off the water. The flats again at midnight for the mini season opener was 90 degrees.
Lackluster, yeah.
And there wasn't, at least our area, up around 90. Wasn't very good. The guys that got out to the ocean side before it really kicked up in the morning did okay on those little knot heads, reefs that run up and down the coast.
So in that 15 to 20-ish. But
yep. Yeah. Those guys did all right the first day. Second day, you wouldn't have known it was lobster season down there, mini season. I mean, nobody
was even out.
No, they all found different things to do.
Yeah.
So
Well, the yellowtailing was still good.
the
You said the
yellowtail,
mangrove snapper bite was still good.
it came, yeah, it came on that last week. They were out on the reefs, spawning, and again, that getting away from the heat. But they moved into the bridges and the rock pilings about beginning of the third week of the month.
Okay.
So that was
So they kind of they came out of the back country. They got around the bridges there in late May, early June when I was down there.
right.
We had some pretty good mangrove catches. Yellowtailing was really good. Really good at that time. A lot of smaller fish this year.
Yes.
11 and a half inches was the mark. It wasn't quite 12. You would catch 6 or 7 or 8 11 to 11 and a half inch fish to get that 12 or 13 inch fish. Or we had a couple that were 15, 16 inches. We had a couple of nicer fish, but a lot of smaller fish. So I would imagine by now those fish have got to be 12 inches long.
It's funny you said that because there was a couple of trips we took, just everything just under the limit, and then that week of lobster season, boom, the big 14, 15 inchers were back from the reef.
Nice.
And it was a good trip. Too bad you guys didn't make it down this year. We're going to have to do that again next year.
Well, I think you had a full house. Well, next year is Alaska, right?
Yes.
Maybe.
We've got an okay from the company to come on up. We're just trying to put together housing right now.
Gotcha.
So hopefully that'll work out. We should be up there for the summer solstice in the first run of the king salmon.
So let's, that's an interesting thing. So for those of you guys that don't know, Jeff you are like a multi-talented guy. You have done a bunch of different things. You've been going to the Keys for years and years. You stay down there for extended periods due to the arrangement that you have, being retired from your day job, and now just doing the guiding thing, which is your full-time job, but you get to be selective about how and when and where you're doing that. So with the duck hunting, the alligator hunting, and the fishing, you can kind of pick and choose the best of the best of when you want to go. But for years, you went to Alaska and you guided in Alaska.
Best times of my life.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And so I feel very fortunate that you've invited us to come along on the trip next year if we can make sure everything get together.
It's Blair's show.
Right. We got to wait on the talent, right? You got to wait on the talent.
You got to wait on the talent.
Talent's got to be there. But just to be able to go with somebody who has the amount of experience that you've had going out there. And I'm not just talking about going and doing the fishing. I'm talking about where do we go eat? Where's the best place to stay? Where's the let's say you want to go out and have a drink at night or something. Where's the nightlife? Where's the this? Where's the that? How do you navigate, get around all of these? How do you even get there and back? All of that, you've been year after year after year. You've honed that down, so you don't have there's no guesswork to it anymore, which makes it really nice.
Well, I've been gone since COVID, and there's been a few changes up there, but for the most part, catch a can. Yeah. So when the cruise ships pull out, they roll up the sidewalks, and the only thing that's open are the restaurants and bars for the locals. And when you're working up there for the summer, they treat you like a local.
Yeah.
So now we're really looking forward to it. I was actually on the phone this week with he does excursion bookings, the bear watching, the seaplane tours, that kind of stuff. So he's on board. He's going to hook us up while we're up there. So
nice.
Talking to Blair, we think we can get 4 or 5 episodes up there, and I totally agree with him. There's just that much to do. So, and we're going to spend 3 days offshore on the boat.
Well, and here's the thing, it's maybe something that Blair films, next year, and maybe only puts 2 of those shows out, and then the following year puts the other 2 shows out. He doesn't have to cram all 4 Alaska shows into one season, but he can get it all done in 1 year.
Right. We're hoping to get it all done in a week.
Yeah.
week or 10 days. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be the third or fourth week of June. Just because July they get slammed and they're doing a lot of doubles. They won't have time or room for us. But we're going to hit that first king salmon run. And the summer solstice parties all over the island.
So let's talk about that. Is that like the Key West watching the sunset or Isla Morada watching the sunset? Or is it
summer solstice is like a national holiday up in Alaska.
Really?
It really is. Everybody has a good time. There's 3 different parties that go on, and one at each end of the island, north and south, and then you got downtown. But yeah, them Alaskans like their summer solstice, that longest day of the year.
And that's, I mean, at that time of the year, even at that latitude, does it get completely dark, or does it still stay a little bit light?
Nah, we're sleeping with blackout curtains and masks on for the first month, 5 weeks. You know, it gets twilight around midnight, and by 4 o'clock in the morning, the sun's already up.
Sun's up.
But, it's amazing, all that sunshine, the energy you get from it, being exposed to the sun that long. I really do. There's a place up there called Ward Lake. It's like a huge city park up in the mountains.
Okay.
They got a walkway that goes all the way around it, and we would go up there for barbecues after work. And the next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock, and, we got to be back on the boats at 6 a.m., so you lose track of time when you got that much daylight.
Well, it's interesting. The same thing happens here in Florida, to me anyway. I mean, I don't know if the rest of the listeners out there see this, but in summertime, it's daylight at 5:45, 6:15. The sun's breaking the horizon, and we still got enough daylight at 8:30, 8:45 at night that you're still going.
Right.
But in the wintertime, the sun sets at 6 o'clock, and by 7:15, you're ready for bed.
Right.
And just a couple of months earlier, you hadn't even had dinner yet, let alone got your pajamas on, So it is amazing how the sun creates energy within you.
It really does.
It does.
It really, really does. So we're looking forward to it. Hopefully everything will come to fruition. Then it's booking plane tickets. So we're going to leave that up to the talent's
so
wife.
Dennis Hammond, and some of the listeners out there may remember Dennis Hammond. Dennis Hammond was a firefighter / light tackle, very, very incredibly good light tackle angler. And he was one of the fellows that I kind of watched when I was growing up. Him and Billy Bright, Mike Steffens, watched these guys do what they did. And Dennis Hammond started going to Alaska, and he would drive his truck up there, and he would sleep in the bed of the truck and just drive all over Alaska, just fishing in the various streams and lakes and rivers and things of that nature. And after he had gone a couple of years, he told me, he goes, "Man, have you ever been?" I'm like, "No." And he goes, "Man, you've got to go. You got to go." Now I was a teenager, okay, playing with his son Danny. And he's like, "If you ever get a chance to go, you got to go." And I was probably 18 or 19 at this point. So I was a young adult. And he goes, just remember this. You need a couple of things. He says, you need a credit card, because if anything happens and you need a tow, or you got a flat tire or whatever, you need any kind of help, nobody's coming unless you got a credit card on file. And 2, you need some adult supervision. And I'm thinking, why do you need adult supervision? And I said, well, why? And he says, because you need somebody to tell you to slow down and go to sleep. He says, because it's daylight so long. He goes, you will fish 36 straight hours. And all of a sudden you'll realize, man, I've got this throbbing headache, and, what's going on? He says, you need somebody to tell you you need to go to bed, because you get up there and the fishing is so good, and there's daylight basically all day, all night. He goes, you'll just fish yourself right into a headache.
And believe it or not, I pointed that out to the owner at the time. Yeah, we got a lot of energy, but after after 16 hours, 18 hours up fishing or doing whatever you're doing, it's your body feels like it's consumed a 6-pack of beer, and you become less efficient. And he looked hard at it and really cut back on a lot of the doubles and tried to spread it out a little bit, because we'd be out there for 12 hours, 2 trips, so on certain days. Yeah. But you know why they take credit cards, right?
Why is that?
Because Alaska Air, everybody up there has one, and you spend $1,500 in 3 months, you get a free airplane ticket for your spouse.
Oh, okay.
So
you're getting the frequent flyer miles, the bonus miles. Yeah.
Leslie's never paid more than $121 for a flight in the years that we've been going up there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our first break of the day. Give us a shout here. We'd love to hear from you. 321-632-1000. That's 632-1000. We're going to be right back after these messages, so don't go away. Segment of the show is brought to you by Lamb Deck. We appreciate those guys at Lamb Deck sponsoring this segment of the show. And if you guys and gals need a fantastic EVA non-skid option for your boat, check the Lamb Deck out. It goes on airboats. It goes on aluminum boats. It goes on fiberglass boats. You can put on any kind of boat, make the whole deck a whole lot softer, nicer to walk on, much quieter so you're not spooking fish if you're up in the flats. And, of course, after standing on that stuff all day long versus a hard deck, you're going to notice a difference. That is the truth. So give them a call up at Lamb Deck, 321-505-4888, and make your boat safer and more comfortable all in one shot with Lamb Deck. We're going to the phone lines. Capt Mike Mann's on the line. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you today?
We're doing good. How is it out there this morning? I noticed there was a little bit of breeze compared to the rest of this week.
No, right now it's flat calm. I mean, the bugs are out, so there's no wind right now, and we're looking for some tarpon today. I've seen a few, but I think I'm going to have to get up and move around a little bit. They've started moving. All week we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They were all in the same place, and there were hundreds, and we got to play with them a little bit. And the last 2 days they've been moving around a little bit.
Gotcha. I'm kind of surprised that you don't have any wind, Mike, because that was the first thing I noticed when I came out this morning, let the dogs out about 5 o'clock, and I'm like, the breeze has got the leaves on the trees in the backyard kind of rustling around. So maybe it was just a pre-dawn breeze and it went flat for a little bit. But we're definitely going to get some breeze over the next day or two.
Yeah, and some much needed rain. I mean, I don't know about you guys down there. I mean, we have not been getting any rain. I think we got maybe an hour of a light rain one day this week at my house. So it looks like Sunday night into Monday, it's going to be kind of a washout, which is okay. I'm okay with that. Because right now the water temperature, 89.1 where I'm sitting at. I'm over by the ICW. And it was 89.5 over by JB's.
Wow.
Yeah, so we need it to cool down a little bit, and it's low. It is some crazy low water, and we still got about another 4 hours of outgoing tide up here.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. Rain is a good thing in a way. It does cool the water down, and, of course, it keeps your yard from turning brown. Of course, I don't care to mow my grass, so it can stay brown for all I care. But some people don't feel that way. Some people enjoy getting out there 3 times a week and cutting their grass because it's grown knee high in 2 days, and so they enjoy the water. But the one thing that I've noticed is that our lagoons, because of the lack of rainwater, the lagoons still look pretty good in most places, with the exceptions of where the water's gotten above 90 degrees for multiple days. So as an example, from 520 south towards the Cocoa Beach, Thousand Island area, that water in there looks a little funky, has a little bit of bacteria in it. It's got that white milky kind of a look to it because of the extended heat, which is not good, obviously, is not good for the fish. So a little bit of rain, a little bit of drizzle wouldn't hurt anything. But
I don't want 10 inches. But
compared to what we've had in years past, with the water flowing in, the groundwater level itself being extremely high, and inundating those septic systems that are along the lagoon system, plus the stormwater runoff flowing, nutrients into the lagoon. I'm completely happy with the drought scenario. I'll deal with a couple of spots of bad water to not have all of the water be bad, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely, because that is one of the things I noticed. The spot where I'd been tarpon fishing, and it was clear water. There was tons of glass minnows up on top. We had tarpon, we had jacks, we had ladyfish sailcat. I mean, we were throwing a jig head and a paddle tail in 14 foot of water. We were catching 15-inch mangrove snapper in that area.
That's nice.
Not even bouncing off the bottom, just kind of reeling it through the bait pods. And I hit it went back to that spot yesterday because I had the same guys. And we were all excited to get there and hopefully see the same thing. We got there, and it was like something's different. And the water was like a little more brown, just wasn't as live. If you know what I mean. It didn't seem to have as much liveliness to it.
Well, I'm surprised that you haven't had any rain at your place, because I know there's been, the last couple of days, there's been rain all around our property up in Oak Hill.
It's like getting close, but not, we've had a little bit of sprinkles. 2 days ago we had like maybe a 30-minute rain shower, which isn't enough to do much of anything. We need those afternoon hour and a half of rain. And that, when I've had that over here, the water temperatures drop down to like 85, 86.
Yeah.
And now, it's back up to 89, which is, it's just not a healthy temperature to stay at for very long, because it starts causing some of those blooms too.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing down in the Cocoa Beach area, a little bit down that way.
But, I was offshore Thursday we were offshore. And what I did notice offshore was the closer in reefs did better. I mean, we went out to Turtle Mound, and really we weren't marking much. As I came in, I was about 10 miles out. I mean, we had big red snapper and big mangrove snapper chummed up to behind the boat. And fortunately, all we could get were the reds to eat. I could not convince those mangroves to touch it. I dropped down to 25-pound leader because, I couldn't really go any lighter than that, because these were, some 12-pound mangroves with some 25-pound red snapper mixed in with them.
Nice morning.
Yeah,
they weren't small. They were, we had a couple break-offs on the 25-pound, but, I was chumming them up, and you'd see them swim up, and they would like, yep, nope, I see that. And even the red, but it was so clear. The water's just been beautiful off the beach, incredibly clear.
Well, that's a good sign, because Cocoa Beach is still pretty dirty, unfortunately. All the beach renourishment dirt that they put out there instead of sand is still got that water not as good as it could be. There's some signs of it cleaning up. I mean, we've had a lot of clean water come up from the south, but man, it's a little bit, and with light swell, it's been a little bit of a struggle still with that dirt that they've put back up on the beaches.
Has it warmed up out there, or still?
It's been 85 to 90 degrees.
So that 70-degree water got pushed back down where it belongs?
Yeah, we had some cool water 2 weeks ago.
Right.
In fact, I got down to 73 one day, just between the tip of the Cape and the Delta Pass.
Yeah, you had called me to tell me.
But the rest of the time,
the good thing,
the
good thing with the great thing with the upwelling, it pushed all the tarpon into the river system.
Yeah, it did.
And they were stacked. And, we've had a couple 100-pounders on this weekend side. I looked for a little bit outside on Thursday and didn't really see any on the beach. I saw a couple guys fishing in the spot I wanted to go to, but I really wasn't marking any and didn't see any. It's 82-degree water, but I think they're still kind of hovering inside. There's just such a plethora of bait on the inside that there's no reason for them to leave here.
How's your mullet looking right now, Mike?
Great. I mean, there's mullet everywhere. I made one cast today and had probably 30 mullet.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect little silvers.
Yeah, I'm thinking this little bit of a storm that's gonna push across here, tomorrow and the next day. I think that's gonna start to kick off the mullet run just a little bit. I think we're gonna see a little mini run, if you will, a couple of weeks earlier than what we would normally see it.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, right now, as I'm kind of drifting through here, I'm looking at, probably a billion mullet just down the shoreline up on the sandbar. I mean, they are just thick. Problem is the water's been so shallow. If it's not right at that spot where you can get to them, the water's been low, but they get up in like that 4 inches on the sandbar, and you have to wade up to get to them. Today I was able to cast net them from the boat, which was nice. And I'm still not getting, we're getting some pilchards on the beach, but not really any mullet on the beach yet, and not really a whole lot of pogies. We had a few pogies in at the beginning of the week, and they kind of disappeared, or I couldn't find them.
Well, you got a good variety of bait, though, it sounds like.
Yeah. We've got a good variety of bait inside. Outside, catch your bait before you head out and make sure you've got some. And if you find it out there good, you got more bait.
Yeah, most of the guys here at Canaveral have been finding greenies out in that 50 to 70-foot zone. Normally they'd be in tighter, but the dirt's keeping them pushed out a little farther. So
see, here they were in real close. They've been right up in the surf.
Yeah.
And the mullet's been good because, we jumped a giant kingfish on Thursday. Giant kingfish, which then got eaten by an even bigger barracuda.
Oh,
which then we put another bait out and hooked the cuda. So I think we got a 4.5, 5 foot long cuda, which was fun. It's guys that didn't care about meat, that was fun to catch.
Yeah, they're fun on a spinning rod too.
Oh yeah, they're a lot of fun, especially when they get in that 4 and 5 foot range. Those are some big nasty cudas, and they are they pull some drag. I wasn't real sharky though. I think we lost 1 or 2 fish to sharks, but most of what we were losing was to the barracudas.
Gotcha. Mike, going back into the lagoon system, how is the bite on the flats right now? Is the grass is there?
Yeah.
Is the bite still there, even though the water's hot?
Yeah, you can get up in the skinny and find some tailing fish up in the grass. The trout have dropped out to, they're in like 2 foot of water, and had a really good bite this week on pigfish. I haven't fished that in a couple of days, thrown any pigfish, but we had a really good bite on pigfish for a few days.
Perfect. Well, buddy, we're up against our next break. How does somebody get a hold of you and get out on the boat?
Yeah, you can give me a call. I've got some days open towards the end of the month. You can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. You can follow me on Instagram, CAPT Mike Man with 2 N's, and Facebook, Fat Fish Guide. So guys, get out and catch a memory. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
All right, buddy. You take
too,
care
buddy.
and have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye now. Hey, gang, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more, so don't go away. Catch your memories coming right back after this message. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by Engel Coolers. And, I wanted to talk about my Engel Cooler / live well.
Your little bake canister?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is really cool. I've been meaning to pull a trigger on one, and I just haven't.
You, that thing just keeps your bait so frisky. I take a frozen water bottle and put in there, and I fill it about a quarter of the way up, and I can put 4 dozen, 5 dozen shrimp in there, and they're good. I mean, when you pull them out, you're jumping trying to grab them. They're all over the place. They're not lethargic and just no spunk. You put a hook in them and throw them out there, man, they go to twitching, and I'm telling you, it's a difference maker whenever you're catching fish, or trying to catch fish. A lethargic shrimp, sometimes the fish will come up and look at it, and they'll kind of go, I don't know. Especially snook.
Mm-hmm.
Snook are the worst about that. But you put a spunky one down there, man, they're like, oh, that looks real. That's
and that has its own aerator on it
got
too,
its
right?
own aerator.
Yeah.
Now I bought one of the new lithium ones at iCast.
Okay.
Lithium rechargeable, but I haven't used it yet because my old one, I just bought it because they had them for $20.
That's
They're
the angle.
Yeah, they're normally like 50, and they had an iCast special where you could get one for 20. But the smaller one was 20, and I think the bigger one was 30. Well, all I need is a smaller one because I've got the 19-quart cooler. I don't have the 30-quart cooler.
So do you charge it from a wall charger?
Yeah, USB rechargeable.
Really?
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about carrying D batteries around. But my old pump is still good. It's still working. I mean, it's getting some rust to it, and it's seen its time. But it's like I'm not going to open the new one up yet until the old one completely dies. Well, the old one's not. It's not even close to dead. It's
Right.
just,
That's how mine is.
the screws have got a little rust on them, and that's about it. I put a little salt off on them when I get back from the trip. But just sitting out there all day with the salt water on them, they'll start to rust a little bit and stuff. Long story short, a couple of D batteries, 48 to 72 hours worth of runtime on 2 D batteries. But the main thing is by putting the frozen water bottle in there and cooling the water down, the shrimp, the water holds more oxygen, and the shrimp just stay in better shape, and they're not getting beat up like in a recirculating live well or in a raw water live well, drawing outside water into the well and then swishing them around, so they're constantly having to fight against that current.
And then you get shallow, you get into muddy water, and then all of a sudden
up in there,
you go to grab a shrimp and you can't see the bottom of your live well.
Exactly. And so, but I had the first. Now I've had this thing for, good grief, I've had it for 7 or 8 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally broke a hinge on it the other day. Yes, 2 days ago, I broke one of the hinges. Just opening the lid, closing the lid, open the lid, and leaving the lid kind of flopped open. They're plastic hinges. So after 7 years of use,
and you take that thing everywhere.
I know.
It's like your purse.
It's like my man bag, right?
Yeah, your merce.
I finally broke a hinge, and I'm like, "Dadgummit," So it didn't really want to, go back together, right? But I got it to latch back down, but it's like, "Dadgummit." So I go to the website. Well, they've got stainless steel accessory hinges for those dry boxes now
That's a good upgrade.
for like $8. So I ordered a pair of them. So we will to be continued on one of the next couple of shows. We'll let you know how the stainless steel hinges, how they retrofit, how they work. I mean, there's only 4 screws to hold them in place, but it'll be interesting if the plastic ones lasted as long as they did. I'm thinking I'm going to go through 4 pumps before I wear out a stainless steel hinge. I'm thinking.
It is so nice dealing with, I don't want to call them a smaller company, but, I switched over to Engel 6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Never looked back. I mean, they really take care of their guides. They take care of their regular customers.
There's a few companies out there that, for me, have been invaluable. And Engel is one of them because of exactly what you said. Customer service, they just take care of you.
They do.
And they build a good product to start with. So a lot of times you don't even have to worry about it. I mean, it's years down the road before you start to have problems like this. 6.5, 7.5 years. I don't know how long it's been that I've had this thing. But, I mean, it's not been used lightly. It's been used.
I've got a
it's lasted
55.
that long.
I've got a 55 tall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I use as a casting deck. I mean, I got my cooler, doubles as a casting deck for my clients. Sits on the boat. Very rarely comes off. I think we took it off for lobster. We did. We took it off for lobster season, left it on the dock. But just can't kill them.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the quality, and they don't forget us. Some of these companies get so big that
they don't know you anymore.
They don't know you anymore. And, you and I have talked about it in the past. They don't take care of the guys that got them there.
Yeah.
So
engelcoolers.com. Check out all the accessories that you can get for your cooler, your dry box, your whatever you get. But also just look at how long the original stuff lasts. I'm really impressed with it. That company, Saltwater Assassin's another company that has been just Bass Assassin, Saltwater Assassin, just a great company to work with for over 20 years now. And it's companies like this that you're thankful for. And PowerPole. I mean, PowerPole, unquestionably the best customer service and warranty in the business.
Speaking of PowerPole,
unquestionably,
I made the switch finally, and I left Minn Kota, And Casey Carpenter brought me on board the guides program for Power Pole, and we actually left for the Keys 2 days late because we were waiting for it to come in, and we had it hooked up in less than 2 hours, and then we were out of there. But what a difference. I mean, I know it's going to go down every time, and I know it's going to come up every time. And if it doesn't, you pull it, unlike the other brand where when it's down, you're taking it apart and pulling it into the boat.
Yeah.
So I went through 3 of them in like 4 years, and I had enough. You know, I complained to you about so I'm glad I made the switch. I'm going to I'm going to purchase the Move.
Yep.
After the first of the
I
year.
think that's my next, that's my next upgrade is going to.
It's just amazing to see Blair tie my mud boat up to his deck cat and move us around the marsh gator hunting like I wasn't even there.
Yep.
And I had 2 plus a camera guy, and that motor just unbelievable.
A lot of torque
Yep.
in it. So anyway, go to inglecoolers.com and check out all the stuff they've got there. I'm telling you, you guys are going to be impressed with this stuff. Also want to let you know this segment of the show is brought to you by Sun State Pest Management. So if you've got any pest problems, we got some rain that's starting now. If you got the bugs wanting to come in, the roaches, the ants, all of those things that like to come from the outside inside to get dry and be comfortable in your air conditioning during the summer months, well, make sure that you get rid of them by calling Sun State Pest Management at 800-783-7378. That's 1-800-783-7378. They're located right there in Rockledge, serving all of Brevard County. Hey, you know what? Let's do the catch conditions real quick. We got a small craft caution actually this morning. Offshore, the winds are already blowing. Maybe not onshore, but offshore, they're definitely blowing. Southeast today at 10 to 15, becoming 15 to 20 by the afternoon. Seas inside of 20 miles are supposed to be about 3 to 5 feet with a dominant period of right around 8 seconds. And right now, the 4-mile buoy out of Canaveral is reading 84-degree water temperature, 3 feet at 8 seconds. I imagine that's going to tighten up a little bit because as the wind starts to tighten, that's an east swell. So that's a 3 foot at 8 second east swell. But we're going to be getting southeast or possibly even south winds. And
It's going to pile up.
I'm thinking it's going to get 1 to 2 at about 4 seconds on top of the 3 at 8. And it's going to be at a 90-degree angle or roughly a 90-degree angle to what the swell's coming in. So
Not going to be fun.
It's going to get a little sloppy out there over the next couple of hours and even into the afternoon. 20-mile buoy is 86-degree water temp, which is pretty doggone warm right now. 3 foot at 8 seconds as well as the swell there. And the 6-mile buoy out of Fort Pierce, 84 degrees and 3 foot at 5 seconds. So it's tightening up down that way a little bit. Western edge of the Gulf Stream, currently 40 nautical miles due east of Ponce Inlet, 30 due east of Port Canaveral, and 23 due east of Sebastian. And the temperatures at the inlets look like this. Ponce is 84, Cocoa Beach is actually 85, and Sebastian is 83. And then down at Port Canaveral, we've got a high tide that just a couple of minutes ago, 7:37 a.m., a low tide at 1:34 p.m., and a high again this evening at 8:15 p.m. And then at Sebastian, a high right about now, 8:43, 8:44-ish, a low at 2 p.m., and then a high again this evening at 8:23 p.m. And then the solar lunar tables, which are the best times for you guys and gals to get out there and hunt and fish, presented by All About Archery down in Melbourne. The major today is from 11:57 a.m. until 1:57 p.m. So basically from noon to 2. And then the minor this evening is from about 7:34 to about 8:34 p.m. So look for those times to be a little bit better than average. I want to say a big shout out to Tino and Danny down at All About Archery. Went down there. It's off season.
Get you tuned up.
Time to get tuned up. I went down there, put my bow, through its paces. Everything was spot on. And it's interesting because I'm using all original Hoyt parts. And Tino was kind of adamant about using Hoyt product. So on my older Hoyt bow, I got aftermarket strings, made by I don't even remember who made them. Okay, you just send them the measurements. So they're good, they work, they shoot, but they stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So every year I've had to get the bow retuned, and sometimes twice a year get it retuned because it's slightly, the cam timing is slightly off when he's checking the cam timing. This bow is it's a Redworks 5 that I bought from All About Archery. It's had one tune-up now in going on 4 years.
Using the other string?
Using Hoyt's original strings. We have not changed the strings out yet.
Right.
It's had one minor, very, very minor tune-up. And that's just a touch of stretch. And that was last year. That was the third year in, basically. And so it's interesting to me is, he's talking about the OEM product, if you will, the original manufacturer's product, and why it's important to use that in some cases. And you don't really realize it until you start seeing the cycles. My other bow, my other Hoyt that has the aftermarket strings, continuously needing an adjustment. And this one not needing the adjustment. It's really, really interesting.
You talk to some guys, especially like crossbows. Mm-hmm. They say those strings are only really good for 100 shots, and then you need to have them checked or tuned up. And
yeah,
I don't know about the longbows like that, but
I run thousands of arrows through mine,
right?
Thousands, and you can't get good if you don't run 1,000 arrows through your bow. You can get close,
right?
But you don't know exactly what that thing is going to do. You don't know at the moment that you pull that trigger where that arrow is going if you don't pull those kinds of numbers. And I can tell you, if it was me that missed, I can tell you that it was me that missed, because the bow doesn't miss.
Right.
When I do what I'm supposed to do, the bow does not miss. And I'm not talking about the size of a silver dollar or the size of a tennis ball. I'm talking about arrows touching. I have to, when you run 1,000 arrows through a bow, you will run one arrow right up the back end of the other arrow, because you're aiming at exactly the same spot and you're hitting at exactly the same spot. So when I shoot at my target, I cannot shoot at the same place twice, because I'm gonna crash an arrow.
Is it 40 yards?
Well, at 20 to 30 is what
Okay.
I typically practice at.
Right.
I practice out to 40, but I typically don't shoot at anything farther than about 30 yards.
Sure.
But it's interesting that I can hit the release, let the arrow fly, and go, that was me. That's why that was an inch to the left or 2 inches to the right. That was me. That was not the equipment. And you don't. I need to get that way with my gun, my new AR. I've got to get that way with my new AR, because I'm kind of all over the place. I'm at 100 yards. I'm painting a picture that's the size of a small volleyball or a big grapefruit, and that's just, to me, that's unacceptable.
That's great out to 100 yards. When we used to train the officers on the ARs, when we switch over to the M4s, that's acceptable grouping at 100 yards for that type of gun.
But with my bolt action, and maybe I'm being a little harsh on myself.
I think you are.
But with my bolt action, I'm touching bullet holes.
Well, sure. There's no moving parts.
Yeah. So, well, time to take a break. We'll talk a little bit more about that maybe in the next segment. When we come back, we're going to be right back with more Catch Your Memory, so don't go away, guys. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch Your Memory Outdoors. Want to say hello to a couple of guys and gals out there on the Facebook page. A lot of guys and gals watching this morning. Shay Hobby says that the Mosquito Lagoon is got plenty of no-see-ums right now. So if you're looking for a good bite, that's a place to be. Unless,
And I got into the backcountry last month, and we had to leave because of the horseflies. It's like they smelled the DEET and came in.
Those things down there, I don't normally wear shorts on the boat anyway.
Sure.
I wear long pants and shoes, but everybody that's on the boat is swatting, and you can't fish and swat. You can't.
Mm-mm.
You're going to either fish and catch fish and get bit, or you're going to swat and kill the bugs and not catch fish. It's just there's no in between.
Right.
So I always tell people, look, bring a pair of pants and some shoes or something, that you can take them off, put them on, just put some pullovers for when we go back there, because you're going to get chewed on, and those bugs don't play. They do not play. I'm going to say Brian Howe's on this morning. Marcus J. Hook is on with this. Erner Raphael, Bo Bergeron, Darren Stephen Bolton, Jesse Dance. I want to say once again thanks to Jesse for letting me come over and mess around with the site and that ARN. We went over to his place and did that. And Marissa Narvasa is on with us this morning, and Tammy, Craig and Tammy Lykin. What's up, Cuz? William Stratton, and Shashwata Miltra is watching as well. So just wanted to say hey to those of you that are out there. There's some more, but we'll get to them a little later, hopefully. We were talking about shooting the AR and the difference between an AR platform and a bolt action platform, Jeff. And you were saying that a grouping that's, the size of, let's just say a volleyball at 100 yards is not a great grouping, but it's not a terrible grouping.
No, if you're shooting that center mass, you can't complain about that. That's a pass.
So what's different about the AR platforms, AR-15s, AR-10s, M4s? What's different about these types of platforms rather than shooting a bolt action, other than barrel length?
Moving parts. That's what it comes. That's the difference. What do your police snipers use? Mostly
bolt action.
Bolt action with their observer backing them up with an M4 or something like that. But it just more accurate. The only thing that's moving is the trigger, and you don't have a half a dozen parts moving in the gun.
Yeah, the bolt carrier group's not moving. The buffer tube's
not
moving. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you won't normally find a police or military sniper shooting anything but bolt action. You just, it's apples and oranges. You can't compare them to one another.
Yeah. I was just, not knowing that, really, being uneducated about that. I was just, I'm on a bench rest, and, I'm on a sandbag, but I'm on a stable, what I consider to be a stable platform. I'm not freehanding. And, I'm not hitting the dot. And that's frustrating. It was frustrating. And I'm like, why am I not? And that explains it. It's simply the gun doesn't really have that kind of capability to touch holes, to touch bullet holes in the paper.
They do if you want to pay thousands of dollars for a match grade gun and hand loaded bullets. You'll get the groupings that you want, but that's really not what that gun was made for. So it was made for 100 yards. They say, oh well, it's good out to 300 meters or something like that. Mm-hmm. When we took the guys to the range, we said, this is a 100-yard gun. I always said my sidearm, my pistol's to fight my way towards the car so I can grab my AR. So, but yeah, don't knock yourself for that kind of grouping, because you're in the kill shot with factory ammo and a gun right off the shelf.
Okay, well that's good to know, because I was talking with Jesse, and I'm just like, I just don't understand. And Jesse shot the gun too, And I'm like, I just don't understand why I'm not doing any better than what I am. And that explains it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm not using equipment that's good enough to do better, basically.
Yeah.
Because I felt like my repeatability, okay, I felt like I was spot on. And then, I'd be 2 inches left of the bullseye. And the bullseye's, it's an orange spot at 100 yards on a steel target that is, I don't know, the size of a golf ball. I mean, when you take a spray can and just kind of go, tss, size of a golf ball, and I'm 2 inches to the left, and then the next one I'm an inch high, and then the next one I'm 2 inches to the right, and I'm like, gee, I'm all over the place. I mean, what's going on?
That's a great grouping for an off-the-shelf gun.
Okay. Well, I don't feel quite so bad then. So there you go, Jesse. We've got our answer as to why you and I couldn't shoot it any better than what we thought we should be shooting it, because Jeff says we can't do it. So.
Oh, you can do it. You can do it.
Just not with what I was shooting.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to spend $2-3 grand on
You
a
rub
on a
a
match
couple
gun,
more Benjamins on that
Yeah.
thing, and it'll work better, huh?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. When we took the guys to the range once a year to qualify on the rifles with the group you're talking about, we'd be patting them on the back. Good job.
Okay.
At 100 yards, that's not bad.
Okay. Well, I've got this thing set up basically so that I can hog hunt with it, and nothing I'm shooting at is 100 yards. Everything I'm shooting at is basically 15 to about 65 yards.
Did you pull the trigger on a thermal yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I bought a Vortex Strike Eagle illuminated reticle with BDC compensation, 1x8x24. So
Okay.
that's what I put on top of it. I took the old 4X straight 4X power red dot off, put this on, and I like this much better than
Good.
I did that old one. Anyway, we're going to take our top of the hour break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more going on, so don't go away. Catch Your Memories coming right back. Welcome back. It's the second hour of Catch Your Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday. Hopefully you enjoyed the first hour of the show. If you're just joining us, hey, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. You can give us a call if you'd like to. We would love to hear from you. 321-632-1000. We're going to go to the phone lines right now. We've got Capt. Pepe Vidal is on the phone calling in
Pepe.
from Steinhatchee this morning. So what's going on up in the Panhandle today, buddy?
Getting a late start today. I was supposed to go fishing this morning. That didn't happen.
Why? What was on the menu for last night after I talked to you?
There was probably about 3 or 4 bourbons involved.
I told you, brown water.
Yep.
Brown
Yep.
water will do that to you.
So give us a scallop report, Pep.
Oh yeah. But we're getting everything ready now. We're gonna head out in a little while. We're doing we got here Wednesday afternoon, and then came up here to do some scalloping, and we went out yesterday, and didn't do so well. We went north where people are saying the scallops are up north towards the bird rack.
Right.
And I headed that way and stuff, and worked different parts of the water. 3 feet all the way to 7 feet of water, and I was finding them a little bit more in deeper water, around 7 feet, 6 feet of water. So we did, we didn't quite get. I want to say we probably got maybe 2 gallons of scallops yesterday. So I know what area pretty much to hit today. So I'm going to stick in that deeper water.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're at. But we did, boy, I'll tell you what, we got caught in a nasty storm yesterday on the way back in.
What are the conditions like over there, Pep? Because I know they closed down Citrus County. They did an emergency closure this week due to bacteria in the.
They closed down Pasco County.
Pasco, okay.
Yeah, Pasco County had, that's where we were supposed to go scalloping. We were going scalloping in Pasco County, and it got closed. Since it got closed, we had to make some changes, and we decided to head up to the hatch. So we came up this way, but Pasco County, before the closure, people were getting 10 gallons. Each boat was getting 10 gallons of scallops within 2 hours.
Oh, solid.
Yeah, it was really good in Pasco County, and then the virus came in, some bacteria that the scallops are getting some bacteria, and FWC is doing tests on them every 5 days or something like that. So supposedly the bacteria is still kind of high.
I wonder if it's because of all of that rain they got over there last week. I mean, they had hours and days on end of downpours in the Tampa, St. Pete, area.
Scallops reminds me of duck hunting. They move.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
And the scallops migrate up and down the coast. They just strange that they're right there in that area. What's causing that problem?
They like being there, but like you say, with all of that rain and all of that runoff, they're having some issues from that.
Yeah, I have my the bacteria is there, whatever, and I know people that have eaten some of the scallops while that bacteria right before the closure, and they haven't gotten sick or anything like that. But
Well,
it's one of those things. I have my let's just say my mysterious theories that I have on this. Sometimes it's just
Black helicopters at night.
what's that?
I said black helicopters over your house at night.
Yeah, I don't know. They were just raping the scallops down there in Pasco County. I don't know. This closure all of a sudden like this. Oh, we're closed. So that to me is like, yeah, kind of funny. Just like the red snapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theories are flying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When are you coming?
I don't know. So
When are you coming home, Cap?
It looks like you're going to get wet tomorrow afternoon if you stay there. You guys heading out?
no, I'm heading out before. Yeah, we'll be heading out tomorrow morning around 6 in the morning. I'll probably be heading back home. We've got 3.5 hour drive from here. So I'm pulling the boat out of the water this afternoon. I'll pull the boat out of the water this afternoon, and you be ready to jolt tomorrow morning.
But make sure you don't get sidetracked by that brown water again.
Yeah, right.
The triplets?
No, we'll be good.
Are the triplets having a good time?
Yeah, triplets are having a great time. They love scalloping.
That's all that matters, then, Pep.
Yeah, they love it. They just didn't like that whole afternoon storm yesterday. Yesterday's afternoon storm, boy, I'll tell you what, I hate those moments like that when you're on the boat like that. And it's, we're only I'm running the boat, it's like 5-7 miles from, between 5 to 7 miles from the marina to out there to where we're scalloping. But, it was, and it's not deep water either, but there were some waves out there yesterday during that storm that, it lifted up to about 3-4 footers, with a lot of wind, rain, and lightning popping everywhere. So
I could tell you after almost 30 years, Pepe's one of those. Another 5 minutes, we'll be okay.
We're all right.
Another 5 minutes, so we'll be okay.
And
you know what, Jeff? It's funny you say that because I was in the water scalping, and I saw the storm, and I could hear thunder far away and stuff, and I just kept on looking. All of a sudden, I hear my wife screaming at me, let's go. She's yelling at me and everything like that. And finally, I get up on top of the boat, and when I get on top of the boat, I look at my radar on my phone, and I'm like, oh, we got to go. And she's like, yeah, I've been calling you and all kinds of stuff and everything.
That's what I've been saying.
And also,
Leslie and I had a moment down in the Keys like that. 5 more minutes, hon. One more cast. One more, and then the next thing we were in pelting rain.
I'm the same way, except in the opposite direction anymore. I've been caught in enough of those that the second that I see the bottom side of a cloud starting to even turn dark, it's still puffy white on top. I see the bottom starting to turn dark. I'm like, yeah, we're going to start moving a little closer to the dock because invariably, and this is the last bad storm I got caught in before we go to break, is I'm up fishing the Coast Guard bottom for king mackerel. Okay, caught a couple king mackerel, came back into the beach up around Playa Linda, and we're tarpon fishing. Guy wants a tarpon really bad, and of course over the Space Center this time of the year, you see the clouds form over the Space Center and start raining. It does it basically every day, and sometimes they start dropping lightning out of it. Well, the 2-3 previous days it had done that, and so I told the guys, like, look, we need to go because we're on the wrong side of the cloud. We got to go past the cloud to get down to the port because we're on the north side of the Space Center up around Playa Linda chasing these tarpon. And, like I said, it's a white puffy cloud with a little bit of dark on the bottom, just that little gray on the bottom. And I'm like, yep, it's time. Well, there was a chop. There was about a 2 to 3 foot chop that day, southeast wind at 10 to 15. And so in a bay boat, you're not running very fast into a 2 to 3 foot tight wind chop. It just doesn't happen.
No.
You're doing 18 or 20 mile an hour. So all you can do, you go any faster and you're killing yourself. You're knocking the fillings out of your teeth. Your kidneys are going quit. And so it's one of those things where you have to go at you can only go so fast, given the sea conditions in the boat we're in. So I tell the guy, I'm like, hey, we need to go. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's gonna rain and we need to go. And I said, you see that cloud over there? And he's like, that white puffy one? And I'm like, yeah. I said, well, that's gonna get nasty here in about 30 minutes. And then in 45 minutes, it's gonna be really bad. And knowing that we had about a 45-minute run, to go the 25 or 26 miles that I need to go to get back to the mouth of the port. So we're running down the beach, running along, bouncing our way back to the dock, and it's building, and it's building. And then the rain starts to leak out of the bottom of it. And then all of a sudden the lightning starts to drop out of the bottom of it. And I'm going, oh, I don't know if we're going to make it or not. Well, we get down, and we're down around the ULA pad and the Delta pad now, and it's firing, and it's starting to push back towards the coast. I'm going, man, we got to get there. So I'm doing everything I can to push the boat. And, the guy's mad. He's mad at me that we picked up and we've left the tarpon when that's all he really wanted to catch, okay? So we get down almost to where Blue Origin is now, and it's just a solid black wall, to the west of us. And we get around the tip of the Cape, and I look at the port, and I cannot see the port.
Wow.
I can't see it. It's gone. It's disappeared. It's behind a solid wall that is coming offshore. And I stopped the boat.
Brace yourself.
Yeah, I stopped the boat. I said, get your rain jacket on. And
you haven't hit the rain yet.
We haven't hit it yet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's between us and the port. And we haven't hit the downburst draft yet either. Okay. So I'm like, get a life vest and put the life vest on. This one's going to be bad. I mean, it is dropping. It looks like a fire-breathing dragon. It's dropping lightning like crazy at this point. And the guy's looking at me, and he's like, you're serious? And I'm like, dude, this is not going to be fun. I'm telling you, we got to get through this thing because I don't want to be out here in this. So we get about halfway through the bite and hit that downburst, and it drops 20 degrees, and it's blowing 50. It's blowing 50 on that downburst. And, it about mashes you down in the boat because the air's falling so hard, And we hit that rain, and I couldn't see the bow. I mean, I literally couldn't see the bow. I'm just looking. I'm hunkered down behind the console. I've got him behind me, behind the back seat. I'm looking at the GPS, and I'm just driving by GPS.
Braille.
Yeah. I can't. If there was a boat that was 3 feet, well, let's put it this way. If there was a boat that was 3 boat lengths in front of me off my bow, I'd have never seen him until I hit him. It was that heavy a rain. So I'm just chugging along, just going on the GPS. We get through it. We tie off at the dock. We run up and we get under one of the pavilions there at the boat ramp. And the guy's like, thank you so much for getting me off the water. And he goes, I would not have wanted to be where we were and have to come that whole way back through that. And but it's perspective. It's perspective. Okay. When you're 25 miles from the boat ramp and the white puffy cloud is there, your perspective is it's sunny, the weather's great, the fish are here, let's fish. And then when you're a mile and a half from the port and you can't see the entrance and the lightning's dropping so hard that you feel like you're about to get zapped at any second and you're drenched, somebody's fire hosing you with the rain. That's a whole different perspective. And so, I always try and tell my customers, I'm not out here to get us killed. I'm trying to be as safe as I possibly can be. And you're just going to have to trust me on this. And sometimes they get mad about it. But you know what? I'm looking out for you, and I'm looking out for me too, because I don't want to have an issue.
Yeah. You just need a good radar app nowadays. It saves you from getting pelted like that. Because it's
what helped
the
you
thing
out,
was when I started back to the dock, there was no rain yet.
Right.
You wouldn't have picked anything up on radar. There was no rain, but you knew it was coming.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to take a break. Peppy, appreciate the call in this morning and the scallop report from Steinhatchee. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic day out there and have a safe trip back home.
Thank you, guys. You guys take care.
See you, brother.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye now. I got to get scalloped. I was supposed to actually be over there this weekend.
That's what you told me, yeah.
Yeah, but we had to call an audible. Anyway, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more Catch and Memory, so don't go away. Appreciate y'all tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Petrucci Insurance. And, nobody likes paying for insurance. Nobody likes giving the insurance company thousands of dollars, gambling on the fact that they won't have to give it back to you because you had a claim. They just get to keep your money every year. So make sure they're not keeping too much of your money. Give Petrucci Insurance a call. Let them do a rate check for you. Make sure that you're not overcovered, undercovered, paying too high of an insurance rate. It's hard these days. The insurance companies are doing everything they can to increase their profits, and it's at your and my expense. So give Petrucci Insurance a call. They're independent insurance agents. They're working for you, not the insurance company, and they're looking to get you the best deal they can. 321-632-1200. That's 632-1200. Give them a shout. Let them give you a rate quote today. Make sure that you have exactly the right insurance. Jeff, we were talking a little bit about scalloping, and I was supposed to be over actually with the Florida Insider Fishing Report crew scalloping this weekend. We had to call an audible due to a couple of things that came up. Unfortunately, I've had one of those things that happens. One of those things that happens. My best charter fishing client for the last 18 or 19 years became a very good friend. Taught me a lot about what I know about hunting, tracking animals, identifying different sizes of game, whether it be hogs or deer or whatever. We put a lot of boot time on the ground, if you will. And I learned a lot from him, and it was reciprocal. He taught me a lot about hunting, and I taught him a lot about fishing.
Yeah.
And so it was a symbiotic relationship, if you will. Okay?
Everybody's got a couple of those clients.
And so, this was a guy that turned. He wasn't just a guy that showed up on the boat 4 or 5 or 6 times a year. It was like us. It was a friendship where we're going to dinner, we're doing different things together, we're going, and it wasn't just hunting or fishing. It was a friendship type of relationship. And unfortunately, he passed away, and so they're having his celebration of life today. So we're gonna be going to that, but it's a hard loss. It's a really hard loss when you lose somebody that you've spent that much time with and made that many memories with. So it's kind of a tough day for me today, because of that. But I'm so thankful that we were able to do the things that we were able to do. And I look back, I was actually scrolling back through my phone looking at some older pictures, and there's this one picture where he is holding a cobia that's about, 52 or 54 pounds across his lap, and I'm sitting there, taking pictures of him, and he has this ear to ear smile, just as happy as he could possibly be about this big cobia that we put in the boat together. And it's just one of those things that just, you're right back in that moment. You're on the boat at that moment when that fish was caught and we were taking those pictures. It's kind of neat to have those memories to go back and look at.
I've had that happen several times. We get the snowbirds down in the wintertime.
Yeah.
A lot of them are duck hunters. And over the years, and they were always a little older than me, 20 years older. And a lot of those guys are gone.
Yeah.
And you wonder what happened to them because they may have passed away up north. You try to get a hold of the family. Hey, you coming down this year? Sorry, he passed on. And I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah. So it's
not the loss of a client; it's a loss of a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I wish I could say that all my clients were like that. I really do, but they don't all turn into that kind of a relationship.
Sure.
But still, there's a lot of. I have a lot of good people that continue to come out with me. So I'm thankful for the ones that I do have. We were talking a little bit earlier about when you're going down to the Keys and you're spending some time down there. This year, though, everything was late down there. Everything was late, and we're seeing the same thing here. Everything is later than normal by a couple of weeks, sometimes as much as a month. One of the things that just started happening here in the last 2 weeks or so, the mangrove snapper bite has been really good around the Port Canaveral area. There's a lot of mangrove snapper inside the port.
Yeah, there's the same thing with Sebastian, I'm being told.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know Mike's been catching good ones up around the New Smyrna area pretty much all year. Mike Mann, Brian Pounds, Captain Matt Lee, the guys that that I talk to regularly are saying that the mangrove snapper in the intracoastal and in the inlet area have been good there for a while, but we weren't really seeing it in the Canaveral area. And this past week and a half or 2 weeks, all of a sudden, the mangrove snapper have showed up, and the bite's gotten much better for them.
You know, our favorite time to fish for the mangroves is the full moon in August, off the beach. If you're comfortable going through the inlet at night, either coming in or coming out, got to pick your days.
Right.
But you can catch some hogs out at the 15-foot reef south of the inlet. They're just out there for the full moon.
Yeah, it's I don't know if they
got to pick your day though.
We watch those fish in the Keys where they transition out of the backcountry to the bridges, out to the patch reefs, do their thing, and then kind of transition back to the bridges, and then spread out throughout the area, the backcountry and everything. So this year the backcountry was a couple of places was a little off. Like normal places that I would go and catch a bunch of them was a little off, but they were at the bridges, pretty solid when we were down there in May. And you were saying that all this past month you've been catching pretty good numbers of them from the bridges and the patch reefs areas. But this group that's just moved into Port Canaveral itself, I mean, around all of the docks, if you side scan the docks, in any time that you're around any of the cleaning stations, whether it's Cape Marina or Blue Points or Sunrise Marina, even the cleaning station right there next to the boat ramp, there's mangroves around that. You just have to, you can't be using a 2-drop pompano rig with a 4-ounce bank sinker or a pyramid sinker on it, trying to catch these things. It's stealth. They have really good eyesight and little hooks, little jigs, and lively baits, lively shrimp or pilchards.
Everything's all depends on who you talk to, but you talk to some of the guides down in the Keys, it was some of the worst tarpon season that they've ever experienced. The worm hatch went off, and most of the tarpon were already gone.
Yeah.
Coming up this way. Now, while I was down there, Rick Murphy and his son ended up winning the Po Boys tournament. I can never say that right. Out of the Lorelei. They ended up, first day was just spectacular for them. They landed 5 tarpon, and they sewed it up on Sunday with just one more. But looking at the board, very slow for that tournament. And it's tarpon on fly.
Yeah.
And but congratulations to him. So him and his son. So
yeah, Ridge was. I saw him at both of them at ICAST. I spent some time with both of them. Ridge was just proud as he could be that he was able to do that with his dad, and that was his dad's 150th tournament win.
Really?
So between redfish, tarpon, sailfish, all of the different things that Rick's been involved with, that was his 150th win. So they were pretty proud about that. Well, guys and gals, we're going to be right back with more Catching Memories, and Jeff Kraynik and myself, Jim Ross, so don't go away. We'll be right back after this message. Appreciate you tuning in every Saturday morning right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. We're going to do the Starbright cleaning solution segment real quick. So the instant hull cleaner, you guys and gals, I've got it up on the deck for those of you that are watching, on the deck, on the table. You got to spend a day or two on the boat, right? So this stuff is invaluable for getting stains off of your fiberglass. If you got them inside the boat, you can drop it on there. If you got it, it's really good for waterline stains and stuff outside the boat too. But Jeff, you were telling me, I mean, this it kind of helped take care of some rust. It's not a full-on rust, remover, but light rust. It'll get that fish blood, hard water stains, any kind of tannin, scum lines, anything like that. You were telling me that you use this. Now I've got fiberglass boats. You use this on a metal hulled boat.
Yeah, my bay boat is aluminum. It's all painted. A lot of clients can't even tell they're sitting on a metal boat, but I've been using that inside and out, and then following up with the deck wax.
Yeah.
What a difference! The inside, my boat's a little older, and the inside of my boat just glows now after I put that stuff on.
It's the non-skid deck wax is a great finishing product, but I'm really intrigued that you're able to use this on your hull. And the paint itself on the hull apparently will absorb the tannin just like gel coat.
Mm-hmm.
Gel coat's porous.
Right.
But I wasn't really thinking about in a paint situation. It's really interesting that you're using this on a painted aluminum hull boat, and it's working good for you.
Working excellent for me. And, I can't, where we stay. You stay on the same canal.
Right.
You keep your boat in there too long. I don't keep it in there a month anymore. 2 weeks, it comes out for a couple hours. Knock the barnacles off, because we don't have a lot of water flow in there anyways.
Right.
So, but, I put this stuff on a sponge and run it down the scum line, and it's gone.
That's one more way that you guys and gals can use the instant hull cleaner. So if you've got an aluminum painted boat like Jeff has, there you go. I'm just I was really surprised that when you told me that yesterday. I was like, man, that's really cool that you can use it and it doesn't damage the paint.
Tell you a quick story here real quick. We were just happened to be hosing the boats off. There's 2 boats at the house that day, and we were putting a lot of suds in the water.
Right.
And I had it happen to us a couple of years prior to that, but FWC kind of came rolling in. Somebody must have complained about the suds.
Right.
All I did was pick up the bottle of the orange cleaner where it says, biodegradable and safe for salt water.
Yep.
He didn't even stop. He said, bye, turn around.
Yeah, and off he went. Yeah.
It's biodegradable. It's made for that. So.
That's the thing about the Starbright products is they're doing everything they possibly can to make it safe for the environment as well as an effective cleaning product for your boat. Because nobody wants to spend a bunch of time cleaning.
No.
It just so, like you say, the power pine, with the sudsing action in it, the orange. I use the orange flavor a lot, scent a lot.
Yeah.
I really like that scent on the boat. And the wash and wax, it doesn't strip the non-skid deck wax off the boat, which is really nice. So, but going back to this hull cleaner, you guys and gals can get Starbright Hull Cleaner at just about any place that you stop. I think anywhere from West Marine to Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, any of your local independents like Ace Hardware, especially Ace in Titusville. I know they've got it. Boaters Exchange in Rockledge. You can get it out at Sunrise Marina. So there's a lot of places that you can find the hull cleaner.
And I've got a dedicated pump sprayer just for the hull cleaner.
Oh, do you?
I do, because it just goes on so much better. Gets in all the nooks and crannies, get those rust spots off.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Get a nice even finish. Same thing with the deck wax. Put it on with a pump sprayer. I just got a hand one, and then move it around with the brush. And
yeah, I just brush it around. I just leave it. I just let it bake in the sun like that. They say you can rinse it off, but I just...
Really?
Oh, I squirt it on, brush it around. I wet it again, brush it some more, across, because I've got, the non-skid is a pretty aggressive non-skid on my Skeeter. And so I want it to get in all of those little nooks and crannies and, areas like you say. And that way when I come back the next 2 or 3 days, a lot of times I just take the hose and just hose the boat off. I don't even have to actually use the deck brush on it.
It's amazing
Except
how...
for maybe a little spot clean here, a little spot clean there.
It's amazing how the dirt just doesn't stick. Because I normally clean as I go. Yeah. I don't have a raw water wash down, but I got a bucket.
That's my raw water wash down right there. 5-gallon or 3-gallon Starbright bucket.
So
it'll never break.
Clean as you go. It cuts down a lot of maintenance once you get back to the dock.
Even when the handle falls off, you can still use the bucket.
Can never have enough buckets.
It's a whole lot better than hitting that pump switch and not having any water come out.
There you go.
So anyway, that's our Starbright Cleaning Solutions segment for the day. But yeah, I'm really impressed with how many different materials that you can use that on. Because I was not expecting you to say that when I asked you, did you need anything yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
And when you said that hull cleaner for your boat, I was like, man, but that doesn't make any sense. But it does.
Well, I got the same non-skid that a lot of other guys do on their boats, so
It's just on a different medium.
that's exactly it.
Yep. Jeff, we were talking all about those mangroves. So this week, the mangroves, and if you guys and gals out there want to get out and do some fishing, if the wind does blow, this is the type of a fishing that you can do inside of the port, anywhere where there's some rocks, some pier pilings. The mangroves are pretty good right now. Now, a lot of them are 9.5 inches. Okay. But there's plenty of them pushing up to the 14 or 15 inch range. There's some nice ones, and a couple of things that I do to try and get those bigger ones. One, if I can find pilchards, shrimp work. Don't get me wrong, shrimp, and I use a very light jig head, a little 1/8 or 1/4 ounce jig head. But if you can find pilchards, and I saw pilchards around the boat ramp Thursday morning, so there's some big enough to actually use for bait. So there's some pilchards running around, or chunks of fish, chunks of, like if you buy a pack of ballyhoo and then cut those into chunks, those bigger chunk baits will get you those bigger mangrove snapper. What's going to happen is you put it down, and the little mangroves are going to come up there and tap, 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 tap. They're going to be pecking at it. And so you kind of have to have some self-control and some restraint. Otherwise, you're just going to be setting the hook on those little 9 inchers that are pecking at it. But if you'll let it sit there and let those little 9 inchers peck at that bait, that chunk of bait, eventually that 14 or 15 incher is going to come over there and he's going to take it from them.
That's what I like. A lot of guys will fish free line for the mangroves, and all they're catching is a smaller fish. Well, the bigger fish are underneath them. Got to get that bait down.
Yeah.
Got to get it down. And if I know I'm going to be snapper fishing that day, the night before, I'll take some ballyhoo or some cut bait, and I'll salt it down real good.
Mm-hmm.
That way
it's nice and tough.
Toughens up the bait and gets it past the juveniles into the range of what you want to catch.
The other thing is this: if you're using herring-style baits, whether it's a pilchard, whether it's a greenie, anything like that, I try to cut the belly section off of it and use the belly section as my bait. And then, because the reason is the belly, the skin is tougher and has more elasticity to it than the back does. So I use the back portion of those bait fish as my chum, and then I use the belly piece on my hook because it tends to not fall off as easily or get pulled off as easily.
Same thing they do with swordfish, mahi bellies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just that belly meat or belly skin is tougher and more there's more elasticity to it, so it stays on the hook much better. So just keep those little tricks in mind whenever you're trying to catch the mangroves. The other thing is there's a bunch of mangroves in the lagoon system right now. I'm not necessarily convinced that you maybe want to take them home and eat them, but I don't know. Water clarity's getting a little better. Water quality's getting a little better. There may be at some point in time that we can start to not be quite so worried about eating things out of the lagoon system. But all of the bridges throughout the intercoastal system right now have got them. And when you mark, if you're scanning and you're marking, mangrove snappers are a little tough to mark. They don't mark like drum or like some of the jacks. They don't mark like the bigger fish. You'll just see these little. They almost mark like pilchards or bait fish, or like the silver perch. They're a very, very small mark. But the one thing that you can look at is when you're looking at your side scan in particular, is in relationship to the bridge piling or the bridge fender or whatever piece of structure you find them on. The silver perch are typically down lower in the water column. The mangrove snapper are generally about halfway up in the water column. So when you mark them and you're marking small baits or you're getting small returns but it's higher in the water column, fish those fish and see what happens. Most of the time, that's your mangroves. And you can just tell by where they are in relationship to the structure.
Yep.
And in that case, I do free line the shrimp a lot because I don't want it to get down too low.
Sure.
And get down into the pinfish, catfish, silver perch zone. I want to keep it up in the mangrove zone.
Yep.
So just a couple of tips that you guys and gals can go use whenever you get a chance to get back out on the water, which may be today if it doesn't blow too hard this afternoon. And but after this little bit of rain goes through over the weekend, hopefully you can get it back out there and catch them because they're there and they're there in good numbers. We're going to take our last break of the day, and it looks like we've got a caller calling in, so don't go away. We got a whole lot more coming right back after this message. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. Last segment of the show. I'm Captain Jim Ross. Jeff Kraynik is in the studio. This segment of the show is brought to you by Strike Zone down in Melbourne. Make sure you stop down at Strike Zone, get all the tackle and gear that you need to get out there and do your next fishing trip. And, you walk in that place, and then you're like, oh, I didn't realize that I needed that, but I need to take that home, too, so.
And
bring a couple extra dollars with you when you go. That's all.
And it's a brick and mortar owned store. It's not like your box stores. I've found stuff in other shops, and you go to Sean and said, Sean, this looks. Can you try this? Well, put them on the shelf. Either they'll sell, or they'll work, or they don't, and they come off the shelf. But they've got everything there, and they've got the local knowledge.
They've got a good crew there too. Hey, we're gonna go to the phone lines. The Mogan Man, Captain Blair Wiggins, is calling in this morning. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning. What's happening, guys?
Oh, we're just enjoying the morning and getting ready to get back out and do some fishing again this week once this little bit of weather gets past us.
Yeah, this sky juice ought to cool water off a little bit, maybe perk things up a little bit. Hopefully
so. I tell you, it's not been bad.
Mangroves.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was gonna say it's not been bad between the snook and the occasional tarpon and the mangrove snapper. It's been a fairly decent week.
Well, y'all were talking mangrove snapper, and I'm sure I heard duck hunting in there too a little bit, so I had to call in.
It's amazing how quick that comes around.
We just duck hunted, and all of a sudden it's time again.
It's time.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
And I just got back from the West Coast after ICAST. I took off and went over there and did a cool snook show again with Captain Chris Broom over there. But the big highlight was we went out with Mike Avalon again, and dude, you talk about an incredible trip. And we caught you named the snapper, we caught it. You named the grouper, we caught it. Caught a big permit, caught a big African pompano, and just a pullette for a fish over there. And it was cool because, he had these spots over there where and get to know your bottom finder really good. Yeah. I've seen a few people that are really good with their bottom finder, and I've seen some guys that are better than live view, and Mike's like live view over there. He'd pull up to the spot. He'd be like, "Oh, this is my mangrove spot," and all of a sudden he'd look at his bottom machine and say, "Well, nope, there's a Goliath there, and there's some grouper there, but we're wanting snapper, and those are red snapper, and you can drop if you want, but so you drop down, sure enough, red snapper, and get to the next spot, and just a little variation on the chart on the bottom machine." And he goes, "Look, there they are. Those are the mangroves right there. Drop down." And, dude, we dropped down, and before it hit the bottom, you'd have a 7-pound mangrove on it. Unbelievable trip that was. I can't wait to see this.
I even got a call on the Keys when he got off the boat. Tell me what a great time he had offshore. So, sounded like a kid catching his first fish.
So that's, whenever you have an experienced angler and he's that excited about it.
He was.
Like you say, Blair, it's all about knowing your equipment, though. If that, and so that's the downside to the average guy that has a job, is he does not get enough time on his equipment to truly learn it properly, and it's unfortunate because once you understand what your equipment can do for you, no matter what it is, we were talking about shooting a gun earlier, we were talking about shooting a bow, looking at your bottom machine. Whatever the piece of equipment is, when you get it to that next level that you're calling the shots like Mike is doing there, You know, when I pull up to a spot and I look at it, I'm going, okay, there's the mangroves, there's the silver perch. Oh, there's, in fact, one of the bridges I stopped on this week, I marked a Goliath on it. You know, it's like, well, that's a Goliath, and my customer's like, how do you know? And I'm like, because there's nothing else down there that's going to mark that big. It's just not. You know, I mean, it's been marked,
what I
like
tell
a sea
people
turtle.
about using their bottom machine, and learning their bottom machine, and it doesn't matter if it's a Garmin. To me, right now, it doesn't matter if it's a Garmin, Simrad, Humminbird,
Right.
whatever.
You just need to know
if you're spending that kind of money, get to know that machine, because you'll find stuff. Because on my Simrad, Mike was running a Garmin. On my Simrad, I look at stuff on that, and it looked the same as the Garmin did. And I said, "Oh, those look like red snapper." He's like, "No, those are what do you say on that point?" It was either the permit or the African pompano. And I said, "Damn, they kind of look like on my machine. That's what snapper looked like." Goes, yeah, this one here, I've learned this one. But just know what you're fishing for, and if you're trying to find bait, if you're out catching bait and you see a big school of pogies, you're going to be able to catch them. Go ahead and catch them, and then go back over them with your machine and learn what that pogie school looks like, either on your side imaging or your down imaging or your traditional bottom finder. Know what that school looks like. They'll have different color reds and greens and yellows, especially with their air bladder, because and get to learn and know what it looks like. And the pilchards, you get down south, you start getting those big schools of pilchards. Learn what those look like, and you can see the horn bellies, and you'll be able to differentiate the horn bellies from the pogies and from everything else. It's fun learning it, but it takes some time learning it. Sure.
Hey Blair, how did that African pompano taste?
We just finished it off last night. I blackened it, and it was absolutely incredible. I would rate it right up there with swordfish. I mean, every way I cooked it, I would rate it right up there with swordfish.
Nice.
Unbelievable. Snapper's still my favorite fish.
That's still on my bucket list. I have never caught an African pompano.
I don't think I have either.
That's still on my bucket. I've caught a lot of fish. I've caught a lot of different fish, but I've never caught one of those.
Speaking of fish, I caught a lot of. They were all undersized, but I threw back a lot of hogfish this trip.
Yeah, around the bridge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you couldn't hide, Jeff.
Yeah, that's it. Sadly, we were down there for a month. We only saw law enforcement twice. One of them was running from the same storm we were.
Well, most of the time they're at the sandbar doing bikini checks.
Yeah.
Well, that is a.
Oh, I mean safety checks. Safety checks.
Making sure you got your fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
That was always a joke when we were down there lobstering when we were younger. You have your bow bunnies. The girls are in bikinis. You're going to get stopped and checked
every time.
Wear your life vests around while you're moving around. They don't even look at you.
Nope. No, that's I see that on a daily basis. If I have a lady on the boat and she's wearing a bikini, and there's Ellie is anywhere near, we're getting checked. That's just it's a prerequisite, I think. They teach you that in the academy, right?
They do.
Yeah. Hey Blair, you had a couple of good shows that you just got shot. How soon until they air? Will they be on this season of Blair Wiggins Outdoors, or will they be on next season of Blair Wiggins Outdoors?
Yeah, they'll be on this season, and they'll air, I think, sometime in October.
What's really cool?
September, October.
I like what you guys are doing in that it's a relatively timely event. Because sometimes you'll see a show and it was shot, it was, let's say it was shot in January or February, and it airs in September, and the timing is not right. You get all jazzed up after watching the show, but then you can't go fish for that fishery because the fish isn't there.
Remember the Lorelei last year? We were all sitting there having lunch, and that tarpon episode we did off the beach.
Yeah,
Leslie looked at the show, looked at you, looked at the show, looked at Blair, goes, "Guys, you're on TV." We filmed that 6 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
And it was already out there.
And what's cool is that somebody can watch that show and then pretty much go do that kind of fishing with the way that Blair's got his editing crew working on things and turning and burning, if you will. Shoot it, get it out there so that people can see what's going on. And I really like that aspect of how you're doing your show, Blair. It's like this show. It's what is happening this week in our fishery. It's not quite that quick because you got things you got to edit, but it's not something where it was shot at the other time of the year and then you're airing it, in a time of the year when it just doesn't apply at all. And so a lot of times when people are going back and watching the older shows, as an example, I've had a guy who's been calling me wanting to go catch flounder. And we shot a show where we went and caught some really big flounder. Well, that was an August, September time frame that we shot that show. But because it was in an archived YouTube scenario, he watched it in like May. And he's like, oh, I want to book you and go. And I'm like, no, we can't. It's not the right time. We got to wait for later in the year, then we'll go do it. So, one of the things that's kind of neat, and I see you doing that a little bit, is saying the time of the year and when you're out actually filming, because that helps everybody relate to, hey, that species is available then. So.
Yeah, with YouTube and all the social media out there, we got to do that now. Because just like you said, people they call me up or shoot me an email and say, man, I want to come book that. I want to come do that. Who do I need to go with? And I usually will have to put in an email, even if I say it 10 times on the video, what time of year it was and whatnot. Yeah. But
well, if you watch a tarpon show here off the Space Coast and then you call me in December saying I want to catch tarpon, well, it's the wrong time of year. Well, buddy, we are out of time. We have run out of show. How does that sound to you?
That sounds like y'all fixing to go to breakfast.
We are going to do that. Blair, we appreciate you calling in this morning. We'll give you a shout here a little bit later. I was going to run a couple things past you. And
I got a care package for you at the house from Aqua Hippie bully nets.
Oh, that's right. Those guys sent you some nice ones.
Bangs.
Aqua Hippie.
Aqua Hippie, yeah.
Hey, maybe we go try frogging with them bully nets.
Might work. Well, buddy, we got to go. We appreciate the call, though.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a great rest of the weekend.
Thanks, Blair. You too. Gang, for Captain Jeff Kraynik from the Coastal Sportsman and myself, Captain Jim Ross, do exactly what we're going to do. Get out there and catch yourselves a memory.